Čaute. Ja som Samo Ondrek a sme na Rubislave. A keďže tu nie je len jeden človek, ktorý vie iba po anglicky, ale ich tu viacej, tak teda požiadaj na tej skupine, či to nedáme po anglicky, tak to dáme. Ak niekto nevie po anglicky, tak asi by mal odísť. Lebo toto je stretnutie developerov. Ja neviem síce po anglicky, ale ja som ochotný byť na videu a na YouTube po anglicky. Už všetci ostatní musíte hovoriť po anglicky. So, the black slide. Hello. The first and the most important thing of this presentation is probably the big thank to Jano. He's not here, but he's organizing these meetups for a few years, so we can drink extremely quickly, but still something. We can drink and eat for years and meet and connect together because of him, so thank you. Wait. Okay. Obviously it doesn't work. No, you'll see us. Okay. So thank you. So I was trying to find some pictures of this event, but only thing that I have found on Google when I type Rubislava is this girl. Ruby is the blonde, really the tallest chick there, the second one. No, I mean really. So she's called Rubislava. So this is the first result and the last result. So I couldn't find any pictures to help. So thank you, Jana, also for this. Okay, so this presentation is going to be about small math. Nothing difficult, really basic things from primary school. I mean, maybe some modulo, maybe some tilde, and sine, cosine, and so. Okay, so what is this? I'm going to also drink beer, so if you don't see me, I'm just drinking beer. In programming, you have more ways how to write anything. The first are built-in functions that are in every language. This presentation is written in JavaScript, but it's just, the reason is because I know it, and also everyone understands it because syntax is from C, so it's really stupid to understand for everyone, and it's nothing difficult. You have some, in normal programming, you have more ways how to write things, right? The first way is the built-in functions. It means you have some conditionals, you have some cycles, you have some error handling or some built-in functions on string, and you can use these. Also, we have libraries with helpers. These helpers may help you. That's the second way how to do things. Some people, let's say in JavaScript world or in web world, like to use underscore, Lodash, and all these libraries that are like abstractions on normal language, and they are making code more readable and maybe more easy to read for developers that are not so skilled to read normal code because it's just shorter. And the next way that I'm going to talk about is math. Sometimes you may write some particular things and some particular ideas with math, with typical math functions like modulo, tilde, or normal excise, or bitwise operator, and this is basically my talk. I'm not saying that this approach is best every time, but I'm saying that it's great to know some math approach to solving problems, and it's great to have an option to decide which you want to use. So probably these samples are picked for presentation, so maybe they are not the best for use, but they are definitely best for showing you that there is another way you can use it. You should think about it, and maybe you should really Google what does the bitwise operator stands for, what is modulo, how to use some math functions in your code, because sometimes it may be really nice. Always when you pick one of these three ways, you decide between more things. So maybe you are in a team that is really not skilled, with developers that just came out of the school, or you want to focus on speed because you are building some really algorithms that is going to work with huge amount of data, or you just want your shit to make small and commit it and just leave to drink beer. and do it quickly. So always you are choosing between these many things and options how to write your code, and it's always compromise. So this is about the math way. Okay, now, oh, that was a beatbox. Now how to write this. So for this example, I pick this image. How to draw on a screen these stars. So that's a question that we are going to solve with maths. Well, the first idea how to draw this on screen is, of course, put it to some logger, right? And just comment it and go home and drink beer and, yeah, I give a shit, right? There is no pull request in my company, no one checks it. There is actually error because there is comma on the end. For my, so I was writing and doing this presentation today at work. That's the reason why I skip my slides where I work. And so my employer is not here because I was doing this presentation today. And so that's also the reason why there are screenshots of the console, and I was too lazy to put it there normally. So the first thing how to write this is, of course, to put it to console log. When you are more advanced, you can do this and split it to more console logs. And when you are more advanced and you finally finished your primary or maybe university in Zwolle, I hope no one is from Zwolle. So you can do this, right? It's much more lame, but it looks much more advanced. This is a programmer approach to this problem. So you just write more force and call a function. So we are actually kind of functional programmer. This is the solution, right? So you put some force cycle. Let's go. Where to point this thing? Wait. No, it just failed. We are down. Wait, no, start. It's just loading so quickly. Oh my god. Okay, so it's really slow. So we want to draw this. Just remember this because it's extremely slowly and we can't go back to this slide, right? So there's 2, 4, 8 in a row and 4 in columns. So we want to draw this. Obviously, we can do this in 2 force cycles. First is going to do in columns, second in rows, and it just draws and call the function log something. So it should draw this. This approach sucks, and this is how to normally solve some problem without math. You don't need any math for this, except of understanding that I and j are incrementing. Now we will do some math way, and we will solve this with some math. The first for the math problem is to describe how to work the tilde. Tilde is one of the bitwise operator that flips all bits. If you have, like, let's say 101, it turns to 011, 010, and it's just reverse all the bits. Can we use this in normal programming? This syntax, it's the same, so tilde, it's the same. Tilde is name of the character, it's not like some special name. It's the same for every language, so you have the same for if you are a Ruby programmer, or if you are a Python programmer, C, JavaScript, Java, doesn't matter. In some languages that I didn't just say that it may be different. So how tilde works? Well, basically, you can convert anything to number because of the bitwise operator. So you can convert even string or boolean or number that was before number to number. When you skip the bits, how can you use that? So first we will see some really dummy examples, and later we will see usage in the real world examples. So let's say for index of, maybe a lot of you know this example when you want to use tilde. Index of just search in the string as I've shown here, and it finds a position of the searched thing in your string that you are searching, and if the character doesn't, wow, it's written there, why am I saying this? I can read this. And if the character doesn't occur there, it prints -1. So let's say if you want to search something in array of strings, you just put index of and it returns you right -1. So you can console log. On the right side, the dude is the name of my computer, so you can see the result there. I just run the script And because I had no time for this presentation, I just took screenshots. So you have like two windows. The second one is just running, I think, node and name of the file. This Ruby style.js. So when you want to be more advanced, you don't need to put exclamation mark equal -1, but you can put tilde. So it's much more simple, but it sucks because the result is -1, right? So you use bitwise operator with the moved bits, but you get a weight result. But this is the cool part. When you put exclamation mark there in every language, or you just make well, you just negate the thing, you get Boolean values. When you put two exclamation mark, like in 2 slides, wow, you get a correct result. So this is how to use tilde in few examples in the real world. This is the result that I put in here just because this is the most common result, and maybe you know it from here. It's not that I want to teach you something because this is really stupid. It's just for people who are here and don't understand how to tilde. Because a lot of programmers just do their job and they don't really care about bitwise programming or math because they don't need this shit, right? For, you know, bread and beer and other things that we are making money for. So, next thing that we need for drawing these stars, if you remember this slide, is getting a sequence 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. How to get the sequence 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 dots. Well, that's pretty simple. You just put 4 to 4, right? And print it out. There is a result. That's nothing. This is how normally you would do that without math. And well, that's pretty fast. It works. So why to change it? But we can make it much faster, much readable for people that know what the modulo operation stands for. Everyone here probably knows. I'm not gonna describe because if someone doesn't, he probably also doesn't speak English, so it makes like who fucking cares, right? So who doesn't know what is modulo? Yeah, blah. So as we can see, well, we can use modulo for normal things. So we put modulo to really simple 4. This may looks really simple for you before you need to think about it, and the answer is on slides. So I have there also some slides without the answer, and it's really difficult to guess. So you put just modulo 5, it gives you, as you may see, from 0 to 4 range of numbers. Oh, this is pretty cool. So we just created really simple sequence just with one operator. We didn't need 2 for cycles, we didn't need some y, we didn't need even next variable. We just had one variable that is stored just inside of the for cycle, and we got the sequence that we needed. Can we edit this somehow? Well, if we put the number that we want to minus the number we are assigning to the modulo, we get the reverse sequence, what is pretty cool also. If we want to edit somehow this sequence, so let's say we need it to our code, we can still, let's say, use minus plus or divide it or time it to some number. As you may see in this example, I divided it by 4, so every one step between 0 and 1 has 3 steps. So 1, there is 0.25, 0.5, so these are 4. So they are divided by 4 groups. If you want to group this and make absolute values, this is kind of JavaScript specific, so in every language it would be different. I'm sorry, but there was really no way how to do the result. You can do some absolute values. And we are coming to the end of this one modulo. So if you want to get a group of 1, 2, 3 sequence that was described on the start for the results that I will show later on, you just need to put the modulo there and add 1 because I is starting on 0 and going to 12, as you can see in the for cycle. So of course you need to add 1 to don't start on 0, because otherwise there will be result, the first row would be 0. So this is the first result is the normal way how you would it if you wouldn't know how modulo works. But if you know that, you get a second result. So you don't need 4 cycles, you don't need 2 variables, you don't need to iterate inside of it. It's much more simple if you know what modulo means. This is the most primitive example in here, just because we need to use it in more complex examples later on. So for people who knows how modulo works, this is probably boring part, but still, it must be here. Okay, let's go to sequence 111, 222. How to do this sequence? Well, so now there is no answer. What happens if you in 4 cycles divide numbers by 8? So in your first cycle, I would be the first number and second would be divided by 8. Well, so this is the number. Who knows the answer? So this is like math from, well, like we have been like 8 years old. So what happened? Okay. So that happens that every one integer is divided by 4 parts, right? This is pretty simple because it makes sense. So we divide every one integer into 4 parts. Look at the first number of the result. If you just make if you just round these numbers, you get a definitely sequence of numbers that we needed. This is what is here. The problem is that if we would start with I on 0, the round number would start with 2 zeros, so we move it to 2, 2. This is where the tilde comes inside of the cycle, and you need to use tilde for don't start with the really weird var I equals to 2, because that's, what the fuck is that? Like, if someone would read this shit after 2 years, he would have no fucking idea why did you just start on 2, you know? It's not from, obviously, high school, it's not from Harold C. books. So, wow, that's cool, I have also arrows there. So, but when you use tilde, you may use zeros and make your code a bit more readable. So now we got to the state where we know how to create these 2 sequences. When we want to draw this, why we needed these 2 sequences? Well, that's pretty simple, because we had this, for example, how to draw this with normal programming approach. But if you know how to use 2 tildes, and when you know how to use fucking simple modulo, you may do this much more easier. It means that you may just use modulo for generating columns, and you may need 2 tilde for generating rows, and times it to, I don't know, some position that you want to wish, that you wish to draw these stars, and you'll draw them. So the first result is the result when you use some math, really simple basic math from primary school, they say, and the second result is the approach that it is used by normal programmers. And we test this because we use math a lot, not for examples like this, we don't need to really draw stars on the screen, of course, but we use much more complicated math. But this was, the second one was result that was really written by most of the developers in our company, just because they didn't want to think, and even if all of them understood the first example. Now we have 30 seconds pause for beer. Okay. So, let's continue. And on the end of the day, we will connect all these small knowledge together to get a big result. Okay, let's build circular motion with math. Well, what is circular motion? All of us know. It's just movement of the small, well, circle and big circle. There's rounded by something. So we need to use. If we don't want to use any library for that, right? Just for the sake of the presentation, we want to do this manually and point every one redraw with every one point. How to do that? Like how to make a movement on circle. Well, this is something what you should be teach. Well, it depends. If you have like university, you should know this a bit. If you didn't went there, because right, we are in Slovakia, so not so many universities were for it. so you probably don't know, but it's still really simple, right? You just need to, let's say we have our coordinates on our axis are between -5 and 5 in x and y, and we want to use this from, let's say that we start on the top. So it means x is 5 and y is, x is 0 and y is 5, and we want to move this to the clockwise. And so what will do our point and our dot now? It will just go around, right? So how to write this? We need to get just two sequences and redraw this every one, let's say, I don't know, millisecond, second, doesn't matter. But the most important thing is to get sequence if you don't want to use any library and you want to do it by yourself. So the first sequence would be 0 to 5, from -5 to 5, from -5 to 5, and that's all. Y would be, had a small exception, that's the green line. So it's -5 to -1, and after it's go just regularly. So from 0 to -5 and back. How to do this? So the first, what you could write is write the first sequence that is, as you may see, there are some missing parts. They should be there, that's not a mistake. So if you want to draw a sentence, a sequence from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to -5 to 5, from -5 to 5, you need to use 2 4 cycles or 1 while cycle and 1 4 cycle. So that's not really simple to draw that, right? Because you have one exception on the start, and if you want to if there in every particular iteration and put some conditional inside of the 4, you need to do this. Because if you would put conditional inside of the 4, every one time your code would and your processor would check the conditional. You don't want to do that. So now we are coming how to do this with math. So this is the standard approach that would be written probably by a normal developer without, with some sane in head and they want to keep his job. How to do that if you want to be fired but you want to use some math in your code and you don't have any code reviews in your company and any pull request in your company and you don't work with Git but you are still working with company with SVN so they know shit what you have committed in and you don't use any, any of your boss is probably something that have no fucking clue what is JavaScript, and he probably thinks that the Java written in scripts. So this is how to do that and enjoy the way. So first you need some really stupid for cycle that's just iterating here and writing some numbers. This is pretty clear. What is the cool thing that we can use sinus? Wait, sinus, that's not English. Sine, okay. So we can do sine in here. And this part of the presentation is going to be about sine and cosine. How to use sine, on what is advantage and why to use sine in this presentation and in this particular sample. Well, that's because sine is iterating between -1 and 1, right? And it's going back and down forever. So if you put normal stupid sine to 4 cycle that goes just forever, it gives you always values between 0 and 1, right? And it goes back and it goes right there, and you don't need to divide anything, you just need to count stupid sine. What if you want to make this movement on cycle in a bigger scale? So let's say we had -5 and +5. We can do that, we just times the sine with 5, right? And the values, as you may see, the result goes from 5 to -5 and back. Well, this is still really simple, basic math. What if you want to make smaller steps there? Well, you just need to times it inside of the sine before you put the function and number to the sine, times some smaller number. When you get a smaller when you get a sine of a smaller number, it gives you a smaller result. So as you may see there, now the results are really huge and the steps are probably 1.2 or 1.3, but when you times it, the result is much smaller, so we can see that the sample is much smaller. So this is how you would probably write the sequence when you need. We can come back. Okay, so you need this, right? You need two sequences, and you need to tell the dot that the dot is going. It's in the top and first image. It goes to the right and to the bottom. When it reaches 5, it goes back in the x-axis, and it goes down in the y-axis. When it reaches -5 in y-axis, it goes farther, right? So we need to get this sequence. This is really much more simple in English than in Slovak. So we came here. So we want to do these two movements, and this is the way how to do that, right? We can get just two sign, the plus 90 and math pi divided by 180 is just to conversion between radians and normal numbers to get the correct number. So you need to just take care of the I and point 2, that is time to normal, and of course time 3. So when you put this to the sequence, you get the exact result that you wanted. The second one is moved by 20 degrees, and the first one gets you result between, as you may see, the 3 on the end, between -3 and 3. So this is how you draw really the cycle and movement on the cycle. But if you don't want to use even the sign a second times because it's just too long and it's fucking mess, no one has clue what is the math p divided by 180, like what's that, you know, plus 8, it's really much more difficult. No one wants to think about it on Fridays. So you can make it even much more simple by putting cosine there. So for drawing movement on circle, when you want to really redraw circle on another circle or any object or circle, you just need to take one sine and one cosine and put inside how fast they should go. No, put inside how smooth they should go and put outside and times it how fast they should go. So this is the result. The first example, the first 4 cycles and the second with inherited 4 cycle are standing for movement or cycle. If you know really stupid basic math from primary school, you can draw movement or math with really simple sinus and cosine. How is this used in the real life? Because this is something what is on presentation, but you never really may use it in normal life. Well, this is actually used. This is used in sorting algorithms. This is used in hashing. So if you know, let's say, well, even the famous MD5 that failed and has found so many duplicates, right? And it's like going down now, but still, it is using these approaches. So you may use these math approaches in the real world from many reasons. First, they are really faster. Second, they are shorter. Next, they are readable for people who has documentation for that. So if you have no clue what sign means, that is not gonna help you. But if you have a clue, at least a small clue, or at least a 4 beer package with, you know, you can drink something between you solve this problem, you will definitely see that. So the second sample is how to draw the thing with the math. Okay, one more example where math is used in the real world. And this example is here just because of many people don't understand how important this really learn this bitwise operator and math operations, and sometimes it really can be more readable and sometimes it can be shorter. When you sort strings, when you are making your algorithms, is, well, stupid easing that everyone knows. So let's say that you make animation and animations are big here, of course, because it's much more simple to do on presentation. Animation of, let's say, gravitation. So you want to animate gravitation. What does, wait, is there a cursor? Okay, so what does a ball that goes down in gravitation? So it goes down after it jumps a bit, it goes down, it jumps a smaller bit, right, because there's some powers. It goes down, and it does this forever, right? So how to do this? Well, you again need a map because there is no other way to do that if you don't want to hardcode it with some conditionals. This is easy function stolen picture 4 hours ago from jQuery library, and this is how easing, if all of you know what is easing, like if someone here is what has no clue what is easing, it's the effect that you have seen on website so many times when, let's say, pop-up is coming over a message or your Facebook message. It's the effect that something is coming slowly, but it's going a bit faster on the end of the process, right? So even easing is math. If you want to write some easing function, you just need to make one of these curves. Let's say linear is for, you know, people that are starting with this shit, but you make do much more advanced. Let's say on the right bottom there is easy and advanced, and that's much more difficult one. It looks like the heart attack, if you can see that in the corner. And well, this is math. There is no other way how to write it, right? You just need to do a function of it. So this is the function that you have been, you know, tortured by Satko. If you have been on, you know, FEI or HET in Slovak Technical University or other dickheads on other universities. So this is the reason why you have learned so many quadratic functions, because you may use it in the real world, right? So you just write a function that put values before action, after action, and how long does it take, and it renders for you. If the return functions is rendered every FPS, you get the result of the function. I wrote that also a helper, what's what, because most of the people have no clue what is B. But I think it's really clear, right? Like, you look at the function and you know what is B, you don't need to know it's only. So this is how it looks really simple screenshot of how the function looks like. You may do also much more complicated samples that you find on some open source library that times TTT just to looks more awesome. And because the end of the function is much sharper, so you see the end is starting already in the middle. Or this is how it looks really advanced function. And this is when in open source programming you need math and you can't really avoid it. When you want to create your own effect, or if you want to create your or functions, you just have to learn math, and you just have to come back to primary and high, maybe university on some level, maybe really the first math, and do this. So this is the heart attack graph. It's really simple. Okay, also, yeah, I don't care of your questions because they may be better than my presentation, you know, so I would look like a dickhead. So if you have a question, just grab me a beer, I will buy you beer and we can discuss about anything. I will put this to the, you know, Facebook group. But the thing that I want to leave this Rubislava with is just the knowledge that there is also another way how to do when you are sorting things by your way. Let's see, you are feeling some... I was feeling really stupid all for managers Excel file with availability of our API like 2 weeks ago, because our managers in our company want to see how our API is really available, and they want to, you know, bitch about like we are really bad programmers on backend because we can make our API 100% available. So they force us to fill this really huge Excel. So if you want to fill this Excel, you need to, Excel has really nice specification file where you can put just really huge array of arrays, and we will put it inside to the Excel. So how you can do that, because that's like, let's say 4 columns times, I don't know, X rows. You can do it again with math. You just need one modulo to do that, and you don't need to, think about something. If you know what fucking modulo stands for, you just need like 5 minutes to export your database from SQL to Excel, and that's pretty it. Bye bye.